I welcome you all for the third day of our symposium, online symposium, Engineering Research for Startup. To welcome you, I'm just offering you the flowers of the mango tree, which is very important because once you see this, you will remember that you lot of mangoes will come now, even if the summer is approaching. So, but you will enjoy that. Yes, the mangoes will be there, and your summer will be enjoyable. And that's why I wish to welcome you through the flowers of mango tree, and that is very important. Whenever people they see the flowering of the mango trees, they feel that okay, now a lot of mangoes. Uh, I rather hope that everybody is safe and taking care. They now slowly we will be now coming out of this pandemic. So as usual, let me start with the our feedback of the participants that I have received till 3 o'clock in the morning. So let me show one after the other the feedback of the participants. I'm happy to see that the Sheesh Tiwari exactly at 7:08 p.m. means immediately after the session he has sent me the message that shows that whatever he has sent he is from the bottom of his heart. He has written that I got too much knowledge from Mr. Mayur sir. He was magnificent. He answered my questions very well. Overall, I enjoyed today's symposium, and thanks to Dr. Abhay sir for this wonderful session. Thank you, Rish, for keeping the tradition of sending the feedback every day. Then I'm also happy to see the again feedback of Payal Dev. She is also regular in sending the feedback, and he said that today's session was very much motivating as we all could understand that becoming an entrepreneur, PhD is not always mandatory. Wonderful. Yes. I'm really happy that whatever I would wish to tell everybody, Payal has written in her mail. Because earlier, when I have decided to organize this online symposium, I thought that I should title it as Engineer Your Doctorate Degree for Startup. But then I thought that why doctorate degree? Even the other people can also do wonderfully well without doctorate degree, and their research can be sellable as a startup. And that's why I changed it to engineer your research for startup. She has also said that anyone who has deep knowledge, idea, and interest can start their own startup. So many persons are there who are not satisfied with their jobs after carrying out a good research in PhD. So they can easily get an idea from the symposium about how to become a job creator. Thank you, Payal, for a very nice thing that you have written. Whatever I wish to convey to the participant, everything is written in your mail. We are really thankful to you for arranging such a platform. She says that she has asked one question into the session, and unfortunately, there was some problem from her side. Maybe I missed it. So I have already informed her, rather I sent the email ID of Mayur to her. Hopefully she might have contacted him. He might have answered her question also. So if such thing happens, please let me know that if at all your question is missed or if it is not answered by the resource person, then I can always pass it on to the resource person, or maybe I can ask you to contact him and get your queries clear, because everything is very important. Your every question is important as far as the knowledge of the startup is concerned. Again, Balaji has written in the morning. I think he thinks a lot at night about the feedback, and then morning he just sent me that. Happy to tell you about yesterday's session that it was session for learning new things. Mahir has given us an insight about startup, and his experience can be beneficial to all of us. So thank you, Balaji, again for sending it regularly the feedback. Then I got it from Arun Kumar, like very effective program. Then I got it from Mrs. Shilpa Vinsurkar. saying that it is my pleasure to meet you on this platform, and the session taken by Dr. Vikas and Mr. Mayur was excellent. It will really inspire us. So thanks, Shilpa, for sending us the feedback. Then I got it just at 3 o'clock when I was about to just complete my all preparation. The feedback from Professor Mohit Kumar Gabane. He has written that both the sessions were excellent. Many new things learned from these sessions. The work of Dr. Vikas is doing the need of the future. He is doing great work. Apart from invited speakers, your energy level during conduction of rapid fire is out of the high standard. That's very insightful question. Okay, it's all because of you people, Mohit Kumar, that I get energetic. So thanks, Mohit, for nice feedback. You know why feedback is important? It is because I am passing out all this feedback to the resource person, and they also get excited. Remember, all of them are working very, very hard to see that they have entered into the arena of startup, which is not so comfortable, but they are trying their best to get the success, and their success is definitely going to build the nation. And you know, yesterday when Mayura said that he sleeps at around 3 o'clock in the morning, till 2 o'clock he can answer any emails or anything. So that shows the hard work these people are putting up. And therefore, your feedback is very important. When I will pass on all this feedback to the resource persons, they also get excited. They also feel that yes, they are doing great work, and that actually inspire all of us. So let me show you a man who is very, very angry, not happy, as even something comes out of his ear, hot flashes. He is so angry to that extent. Who is he? He is Professor M. Kuthe. You know why? It is because he is shouting, why less feedback? You know, I do want that you should send me the feedback after feedback every day. It should have been difficult for me to take everything on the slide and all that. So you know, I'm very much disturbed. I'm very angry man now. And then I thought of rather not continuing with the online symposium today because the people are now sending me the feedback. Unless you commit me that yes, sir, we will send you the feedback. You know, we may have to think over it again and again. The resource person, she must have already joined. He must be thinking what Professor Kuthe is doing when everything is prepared to that level, and all of a sudden he is angry and not interested in continuing. Yeah, but anyhow, I know you have committed to me that you will be sending the feedback. So you can see this man who is very happy, showing thumbs up, very satisfied. He is again Professor M. Kuthe with more feedback. Okay, so please send the feedback and see that you motivate not only our team but also the resource person. Uh, we are now on the third day of our symposium, and today we have the resource person. She has actually put in a lot of efforts to start the company, the name of which is Gnext Genomics. The name itself is very catchy. I particularly rather read it as next generation genomics. Genomic itself is a new field, and that too for the next generation, what exactly the genomics is supposed to do. That's what I feel, and they call it by the short name GNG, and they say that it is a one-stop solution for the quality proteins and antibodies. Wonderful work being done by Supriyakashikar. She is the founder and CEO of the Gnext Genomics. And, women enterprise putting so much of effort, that too the startup based on the deliverable of the high-end research. That itself speaks of everything. And she is with us today, and she will be now discussing with us about our theme like how we should engineer our research for the startup. Before that, let me explain you about the Supriyakashikar. She is founder and CEO of the Gnext Genomics, graduated from Delhi University in microbiology, earned post-graduation in biochemical technology, and she brings with her more than 14 years of academia and industrial experience. Wonderful. She has worked in various academia and industry. She worked on various international projects of drug discovery, assay development at Jubilant Biosys Private Limited. At GNG, that's what I told you, like the short form they call it for the Gnext Genomics. She is Chief Executive Officer, where she is nurturing the company in the field of delivering effective solution to the scientific problem. Remember, this word or this sentence itself speaks of her credentials. She added value to the company by grabbing the big award and successfully leading her work in tuberculosis. She has grabbed not only the big award, but so many awards you will definitely come to know once she will start presenting about her company. She also served as a co-PI for the Indo-French collaborative project along with the University of the Bordeaux, VNIT, and SPAN SRL for development of prognostic diagnostic of CVD. She has also been awarded Women in Entrepreneurial Research Award by BARAC and TAI in March 2018. So impressive her profile that we are excited to interact with her. But let us look at the what she has to offer for all of us. So we welcome Supriya. I hope Supriya madam is on the line. Can you hear me, Supriya madam? Hello. Bhupesh and Subodh, just check whether madam has been unmute.
Hello.
Hello, madam.
Yeah.
Can you see the bonsai of the apple tree which I am giving it to you? Even some
Right.
apples fallen down. I hope you will enjoy apple till the time mango comes in the market.
Right.
Yeah, so
Everybody is
welcome,
waiting
Supriya
for the
madam.
money.
Yeah. So the madam is now going to talk about the her company, Gnext Genomics. So I'm just passing out the role to her as a presenter, and I'll stop sharing. Yeah, I will change her role to presenter. Whether she has been given the role as a presenter, Bhupesh?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, yes, madam, just check whether you can share the screen. Yeah,
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
Are you guys able to see
Your,
my screen?
yeah. Yeah, we can. Yes, madam, please.
Yeah. First of all, I would thank Dr. Kuthe for arranging such a nice workshop. I remember when we started, there was not much of this kind of workshop where we had to figure out that how to take the path. So this would be a good ignition for all the young entrepreneurs or young mind which want to be an entrepreneur, and hope that this gives a ignition of light to all the youngsters, and they start up their own company and see a successful bright future for the country. So thank you, Dr. Kuthe, for the nice words. I'll just take few moments to introduce my company. Basically, we are Gnext Genomics, a bunch of scientists working towards making proteins and antibodies and utilizing those to access different markets and also give solution to different areas. So I'll just take it to the next few mission statement which we believe in. So India has been very rich for the innovation if we look at the history. But then somewhere we actually lost that the innovation thing and became a follower. So what right now what the Prime Minister and the country and everybody is getting towards to bring back that lost glory. And we as a startup should always think that how we can be innovative and indigenous and identify the gap which the country has and bring that glory back. So with our art, we knew the art of making quality proteins and monoclonal antibodies, which is the most important aspect in any research work. So we wanted to venture upon that and serve the healthcare society with our molecules. So what we do is basically we are a group of structure biologists and protein biochemists, and understand each and every target, whether it is a drug target, biomarker, any disease biomarker, and we understand its domain and different internal structure about it, and then design some engineered antibody against that for various purposes. The purpose could be a drug or a therapeutic antibody. So let me take you through our journey. So I would say we incorporated in 2011, thinking that we have to start some or the other. And but then being a woman, there is always a challenge at some stage, marriage, and then a gap of having a family and then taking it ahead. So doing that, we started in 2014 taking the challenge, and then there was this biotechnology ignition grant. The second call was there, and we had this thing in mind that we would be doing something about the platform which makes proteins and antibodies, because most of the country is importing 90% of it proteins and antibody from outside. So we wanted to figure out, develop that thing. And initial, we went one of the patent which Sevagram had, MGMS, the biochemistry department, and built upon around that patent, and discovered some of the biomarker which could be a therapeutic target in tuberculosis. And with that, we started our biotechnology ignition grant. With the process, we developed a recombinant antibody platform through which we could produce many antibodies which are being utilized in drug industries as well as research-based industry. By 2017, we had 2 patents. 2018 was even more luckier. We got this Weiner Award, even Technology Hotspot Award because of our engineering aspect of antibody. And in 2019, we got some collaborative projects with many of the academia, which wanted to develop a academic solution to a marketable product. So we collaborated with veterinary institutes and got this direct pays grant. We also got DSI recognition and ISO 9001 2015. 2019 was even more luckier when we had this National Biopharma Mission grant, in which we were developing a biosimilar molecule. I'll take you more about it in further slides. So we had enough of the government support as well as our initial market sustainability to work again. So the vertical focus, which we were thinking that as a platform, we wanted to focus on life science reagents, biomarkers, antibodies, and diagnostic kits. But we also had this aspect of target development and validation, and antibody development, antibody drug discovery development for many of the companies. So in due course, we had collaboration, and we were basically looking at therapeutic, diagnostic, vaccine, and of course, since we are into agriculture most, so we were also trying to figure out how we can cater veterinary and agriculture sector. So overall, the concept was achieving one health. So the platform which we had developed was basically for delivering all different kind of proteins, whether it is for drug industry, diagnostic industry, and also the antibodies, which are being most important biologicals right now. So we wanted to achieve more and more efficiency in producing that. So we developed a fully integrated fast display technology platform, where we can deliver any kind of antibodies. Those antibodies are recombinant antibodies, and right now are the best sellers drug in the world. And the uniqueness which we wanted to achieve was like, we know that we all Indians are exposed to lot many diseases, and hence we have better immunity. So benching upon that better immunity, what we did was we developed an Indian gene pool antibody library. So with this library, we can achieve lot many antibodies or the binders which can neutralize the infectious disease. So this is the first of its kind, and nobody has made Indian antibody library till now. The product which we have made all through this year was a lot of proteins which is being used for biomedical research, such as inflammatory response research, oncology targets, and this thing. So we have 36 recombinant proteins used in biopharma and diagnostic industries, and 40 antibodies in the similar way, and the pipeline is growing. We also, so one stage was development of a bit of proteins, and then we move next to then development of technology. So technologies means we have to develop some kind of assay or diagnostic kits for detection. So we had two different strategies or business proposal which we wanted to achieve. Was one was high risk and other was low risk. Low risk means something which we are making for non-regulated markets, so that we can have easy sustainability and early earning. So we made some of the product for non-regulatory market, which were like GMO detection kits, bovithidex molecular diagnostic kits, which was for veterinary sector. So these are non-regulatory market where we could get the early market. And then we moved to develop some of the risk market, which was therapeutic discovery. So therapeutic discovery, we also doing this biosimilar clone development. Basically, we are making a drug against rheumatoid arthritis. It's a biosimilar, very different from the generics, because biosimilars are basically a biologic molecule which is exactly the same, but then the process defines its similarity and non-similarity, and hence the clinical trials are almost the same with respect to the original molecule. So we are making a golimumab, which is against rheumatoid arthritis and many other disease indication, and has a $690 million market, which excludes India and China. And the total population burden is 1%. We are at the stage of clone characterization, and we are successfully taking it ahead. So overall, we have a good potential and IP along with us, which gives a good future path. We have preclinical COVID neutralizing antibody. With the COVID thing around, we wanted to bench upon our capability to develop some kind of molecule or inhibitory for that. So we have preclinical COVID neutralizing antibody, which would be out licensing. And also with our platform, we have a drug discovery platform for finding out novel antibody for any kind of drug target. The founder team is myself, Supriyakashikar, and my husband, who has been a very well supportive person all through my working. And of course, team is required. So Dr. Vinod Agarkar has been a very mentoring person for development of such a good facility, where we are working at par with the any Western scientist, and also the freshers and PhDs around, who have helped us to take it to this far. So we got certification also for many of the work, and that's all about what GNG is.
So thank you, madam. Can I just see that I can share my screen? Yeah. Yeah, so wonderful presentation, madam. I could not have introduced the participant to such a great extent, the way you have explained it. So I like the two things in your presentation, especially when you talk about the Gnext Genomics. That one slide where you have rather indicated your journey so far. Wonderful
Yeah.
journey. Like right from 2013, 14, every year you were grabbing some grant here and there. That shows that how your work is innovative, because getting the government grant itself is very tough task nowadays. But you have successfully got it in 13, 14, then later on in 19, also in 2018. Every time you are getting, and recently also you got the National Bar Mission grant. Wonderful. That's what exactly we wish. And the basic purpose of organizing this symposium is to see that we develop the ecosystem here in the VNIT, in our Caricom Center. That is what we call as the basic VNIT, where we want that the more and more researchers should enter into the startup, and they will rather take their research further. And you have shown by your example that how that research, if at all it is taken further, can give more grants. That means even everybody is supportive, and that's what exactly the audience should look into. Uh, Madam, really nice to have you with us. Let me discuss with you some of the rather queries or the comments from your side about this particular theme of engineering your research for the startup. The first one is like you talk about these so many government grants and all that. So I think that there is some. Let me mute all. That will be better. Just a moment. Yeah, now it's okay. So it's very easy to spend the enormous amount of time trying to access government grant and other forms of support for starting your business. They usually come with the need to write an elaborate business plan, attend all kinds of meetings. A lot of these schemes are going to teach you considerably less than just rolling up your sleeves and giving your idea a shot. We wish to know your frank opinion on this. Can you just uh, throw some light on this? Like, we get the grants, but ultimately, finally, what is the deliverable, project deliverable? That is always a question mark, because most of the time we are busy in rather completing the formalities. And if at all we are using this particular grant in the institute, then all the other administrative work also we have to complete to see that the grant is utilized and all that. In such scenario, what happens, like the basic purpose of focusing on the research is always a big question mark. So what is your opinion on this? Hello. I think madam is also muted. Hello, madam, can you hear me? Hello, 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 madam, can you hear me?
Hello. Now
Hello, madam,
I think.
can you hear me? Yeah, sure. So madam, have you this? Yeah, yes, yes. So can you
So
just throw some light on this? Yeah.
yeah, sure. So though it's a tricky question for us because we have, as you said, that we have taken lot many grants. I would not say lot many grants, but then still, since in deep science we require lot of investment, and BIRAC has been very supportive for that. But truly speaking, grants make you little cozy. So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
sail in your comfort zone, which is not good for entrepreneur, because entrepreneur needs to be up and running in the market. So you have to have balance. Like one is getting the grants, and you need to know for what you are getting the grants. If your goal is a deep science and high risk projects where you need a lot of investment, and investors in India currently do not have that much of courage to take that bigger a leap. So you want to have a stepwise process. So there you can think of getting government support where you do a step ahead. But for that also you need to have a very good business plan. So the plan, if the plan is ready with you and you want for a small step, if you want some kind of funding support so that you can reach to the POC stage, you should go, I would say you can go for government grant. Once your POC is there, you should always go for investors. So investors make you drag to the business, to the market. So there should be a balance between both the things. And as far as our journey is concerned, what we have seen is we started with a grant, but then we gave a gap to develop the product, and we gave ourselves a brand in the market, and that brand will tell us that we are capable of bringing business. So if we keep on taking the grant and doing the work, we won't be able to bring the business, which is the requirement, which is the ultimate goal of entrepreneurs, right? So you have to have a balance of when to get a grant, for what work you have to get a grant, and as you are starting a business, the business plan needs to be ready. So a part of a sort of small business plan can be given for a grant purposes, and then we can go for that. So if anybody, any researcher, if they have a very good idea and which requires less investment, I would suggest that they should go till the POC stage and should not waste time in writing the grant. But if they have a good resource team, like currently my team is looking at the bench work and designing and everything. So I am the person who would go into the places and get the investment. So if your team is divided into admin part and the working part, then it's easy to get more grant. And fortunately, government is very much supportive right now to take to the this thing. And secondly, what we have seen that when I go to any kind of investors, they always see that these many grants are you have achieved, and then they get interested. So that also sometimes helps out. So you have to have a map that what are the achievements or what are the credentials which you are showing to your investor or to your clients.
Yeah. Very nice, madam, to hear from you all your opinion, because this is what I always feel. Because for the last almost 15 years, I am in this research projects in the educational institute or academic institute, and I'm executing the research project. So as PI, I am always busy with the academic activities of the institute, but managing the research project, wherein attending the meeting with the accounts, establishment, administration, stores related to the project execution, utilization certificate, expenditure statement, writing annual report, and at top of it, clearing the doubt of the audit. So, this work is so tedious. And as I'm busy, I generally pass it on to the researcher. Okay, please do this. And then their focus on the research gets disturbed by such activities. That's what I realized. And what you said is absolutely right. That is what I always am thinking, that maybe the research grant can be used as a stepping stone, but later on, we'll have to see that how best we can go into the business with the investors' money. Thank you, Adam. Very nice. I'm really happy with that, your opinion. The other interesting part is can you tell us the happiest moment in your career as a founder, CEO, or entrepreneur? Because you have so many achievements, I think you must be having a lot of happiness moments. But any moment that you feel that our audience should get excited, and then they should say that, oh, such type of an moment, if at all it comes in my career also, I will be also successful entrepreneur also.
I tell you, whatever award, whatever headlines as an entrepreneur, whatever we get, the first best moment which we get is when we get the first PO, the purchase order.
Oh, great.
So that basically put you to a place where what you wanted. You want to do a business. You want to sell something. You want to give something to the society, and society is taking it. So that's something which basically gives you more happiness, and it is more fascinating. So as and when you go, so today also when we get a good client, when we get a good big purchase order, then we are very much happy than getting the award. Award is just a push to go further and do more work.
So nice, madam. Really, what you said is absolutely right, because that's what they say, that in the startup or any business, you should first approach to the customer. Whatever when you get the customer and whatever the feedback you get it from the customer, that only rather take you further. So that's what you said rightly, and I'm really happy to hear that.
And for
Uh,
us,
yeah,
like we have been uh, since we are making something which most of the Westerners make, like very few Indian companies are making. So brand making is always a challenge. So
yes.
until you are in the market, you won't be able to make a brand. So you have to gradually work towards it.
Yeah, great, great, Joanna. Yes, yes. So you'll be definitely an inspiring personality for all of us, madam. Uh, like, in a world where USP is dead, and your product most likely is not that much different to those of your competitors, one of the things you can do is to create a unique culture by forming a team that is more passionate, more hardworking, more entrepreneurial than the other companies in your sector. You can increase your chances of winning the race. That's what they say. Can you share your experience on this, Nana?
Yeah, of course. As I have mentioned that some of the products which we made was Me Too product, and but to sustain that, we had huge competition, and the team needed to address the same component and figure out the differentiator. So that passionate team would definitely do it, because they would work towards it and figure out, since they have worked on it, the ownership needs to be there. When the ownership is there, they will definitely figure out that how to bring it to the market. So what our team did was they worked on the delivery time. They figured out that whatever product which we are importing, I mean, that was their idea, and I was very much impressed by them.
Yeah,
uh, that we can work on delivery time. For example, any product which is coming from outside to India, the researcher is waiting for 3 to 4 weeks and then getting the work. Our delivery is like 3 days, and we cover the customer retainment part also, any kind of services, any pack sizes. So they came up with lot many ideas to sell the product. So that comes only when a team is passionate and do have the ownership towards the product, towards the company also. So each one of GMs feel attached to the product they have made, and feel the ownership about it. Even if many of earlier people, they have left our company and have gone for either higher education, or they have started, some of them started their own companies.
yeah,
So they, whenever they use our product, still now they always feel proud that this is something which they have made. So that kind of ownership is required, and of course
yeah,
that
yeah,
comes with
yeah.
the culture and the team building approach.
Yes, yes, yes. Madam, in this team building approach, I wish to just ask you, like, the ego of the team member is very important and critical for the success of the team. Do you suggest any method to handle the ego of the team members to get the success in research? Let me tell you my experience. Maybe I can say that the team of one professor and four researchers may be easy to work with compared to team of three professor and four researchers. So can you just throw
So
some light? Yeah,
as a leader, that is always a challenge, to take everything into account, like, I mean, ego, some kind of gaps, some kind of this thing. But luckily, I have not found any kind of uh, problem in our team.
yeah,
There, in I would give you one example, that in our team there is a 12th class pass out who is
okay,
doing a scientist job of protein purification and library making, which nobody else does that, and every other PhD student come and get trained under him. So there is always a balance. So experience matters. How you deliver when you are coming and working in a organization, you forget what you are. So we always tell all the team members that whatever you are, you should keep it out and come as a researcher. And everybody, right from the lab assistant to a say PhD postdoc, everybody aligns in the same path. So that ways we are very much lucky that people are working together as a team. And and of course, I mean, there should be some kind of activity based thing for the team members should get closer, and say you can have a good lunch or good dinner, a night out, that would help us to take out everything. So that ego part goes away and you work more as a team.
That's nice. Yeah, madam. Actually, maybe sometimes what I realize, like you are lucky enough that you hardly face any problem of the ego and all that. But whenever I work in a team and when I see that there is a ego that is a conflict and all that, so then at that time I generally talk about the societal benefit. What I say that what we people are doing it for the benefit of the society, and I only focus that more and more. So slowly I found that the ego of the others that goes down, and ultimately he also starts working with us. So that's really
So aim needs to be identified rather than the process.
yes. Otherwise, it's very easy to say that we have to we have to build a team, work in a team, and all that. But I know it's really very tough job, and you have to see that because deliverable is more important, and
Right.
then leading a team is itself is a big task.
Yeah.
Uh,
And for a startups, that is always a thing which I would say that everybody in the team is a CEO and a peon. So that should be there in the mind of any startup group.
Yes. When I'm here, I'm just introducing this particular word entrepreneur. I already informed the audience about that. That generally the person who only talks about idea but never turn that into the business. So entrepreneur has some idea for business, keep their cards close to their chest, thinking that somebody may steal that idea. You never know which person might help you. Is it good that they should tell everyone their ideas?
So entrepreneurship as such is a risk taking business. Like, I mean, is all about taking risk and ownership and make that risk successful. I would not go with the word called entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs cannot be entrepreneurs anytime. If anybody wants to go with the idea and take it to the next level, they would want a team. So until they share the things with the team, they won't be able to take their idea alone. For a business to be successful, there are many factors which come together, and then only that happens. So if a entrepreneur has the idea, they would require a team. They would, if they have the product, then they would require the sales people also, the marketing people. So there are many things which comes all together to make it a successful entrepreneurship. So I would say one should discuss the team, discuss their ideas with people, assess the feasibility, because having the idea would not make it into a business. Whether it is feasible to do, whether it is wantable for the society, whether your clients are ready to take it. So all those things would come, and until they discuss with people, they won't be having that idea. And of course, IP, I would not say that people may disclose the IP. IP should always be kept apart, but at least the idea and the feasibility of it needs to be discussed and should be taken up with the mentor. I mean, they should look for a good mentor whom they trust, and then discuss and take it ahead. So I would say that sharing needs to be there at some level.
Yeah. And I think if the idea is to be suppose patented, then better get the better file the provisional specification and then tell your ideas to everyone. I think then that will be much better also.
Yeah,
Because
there
you
are
see,
some aspect which you can cover also, and then discuss the idea. That is
yeah,
also one possibilities.
yeah, because see, the most of the people they are they feel that if I am to tell this idea to somebody, then he may patent it or he may steal my idea, and that's what exactly they look at. But I think if that is the case, better file your provisional specification, which is very easy, and then go on telling it to everybody and just see whether it is feasible or not. That would have been a wonderful thing.
Yeah, because even if you go to investor, you need to share your ideas and the plan
Yeah,
how to go ahead. So
yeah,
you have to take that risk. That amount of risk is required.
yes, yes. Uh, Madam, here the another interesting point which I would like to know, like finding the people to join in first place is extremely hard. Does
Sorry.
giving them equity is the best ways of preventing them from leaving?
So one has to weigh that. Like I say that the first founder team is the co-founder of your idea and your entrepreneur.
Yeah, oh, there is something has happened. Madam, sorry, I'm.
I guess some. Yeah. Am I
Yeah,
audible now? Did I miss
you're
some?
not. Yeah, there
Yeah.
is also problem from my side. Yeah, tell me.
Yeah. So I would say that when you start a business, you start with an idea. You always need a co-founder for taking it ahead. Sometimes
Yes,
the co-founder could be a finance person who is funding your idea, or
yes,
co-founder could be somebody with the knowledge or technology coming in. So there, anyways, you have to share the equity. But if in the uh, working with a team and not able to retain the team because it takes time to get the business right. So you have to weigh that whether the team is worth, and then it's always better to share the equity with the team because the ownership would come, and then they would also be a part of your risk taking approach and take your idea to a next level stage.
oh,
So
yes,
sharing has to be weighed with the ownership versus money kind of thing.
oh, yes.
So if you are not able to reimburse, or if you are not able to give that much value to the talent which you have, you can always bench upon the dilution of the share. So
Yeah.
that
I
approach
think
is
that,
always beneficial for retaining good talents.
yeah. And that means the more skilled and knowledgeable employee, and which is not easily replaceable because of the
Right.
dearth of such skill and knowledge, I think should be only considered for giving the equity.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
Sometimes early decision makes losses, but then you have to figure out and weigh it a lot. What is
Yeah.
your business plan? How much you are dependent on the team, on that team member. So accordingly, you have to see and take the risk.
Yes. Uh, Madam, I'd like to just ask you, like, do you face any challenging situation in your career as an entrepreneur, and how did you handle such situation?
So entrepreneurship, as everybody discusses, it's not an easy task. Every day there is always a challenge, and once you start, the challenge is making that idea shape into POC, and from POC you are making a product, and product. If product is sitting on your shelf, then also it's a challenge. You have to sell that product. So
Yes,
there is always a challenge. You even if you market the product, you have to retain that market. I have been associated from with along with my husband. I have been associated with a company which is a big company and has been in the market for 25 years. Still the marketing is a challenge. So challenge in the business will always be there. So you have to endure the challenge and work towards the solution. Patience, I would say, patience and perseverance is the only way to accomplish those challenge. And one of the important thing is how we can be a patient mind. That comes with a healthy body. So I would say that entrepreneurship, though it's very challenging and strains a lot on you, but you need to have a healthy mind, and for that you need to have a healthy body. So
Yeah, great.
challenge, you have to handle a situation with your healthy mind, and that would help you a lot. So
Yeah,
along with the journey of challenges and hardship, one has to take care of themselves, and also the support system which you have, family and other aspects. So you have to take care of each and everything, and then the problem gets solved. And as an entrepreneur, we love these kind of problems. Then only we are over there. Otherwise, sitting ideally would not help us out. So
yeah.
we kind of endure those kind of problems.
Really very nice message from you, madam. Like I can say that the question which I asked, like how did you handle such situation? I think the best answer to that is if you are having a healthy body, hopefully you will have the patience to handle that, and that solves all the problems. And that's what every entrepreneur should look at.
Yeah. Secondly, sir, I would just say one thing for all the women out there.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
so, for women, there are apart from these challenges, there are other challenges also. So one has to
yeah,
lean in. One has to be feel free about like leaving anything. You don't need to be get guilty about it. There are so many things which we struggle and want to be everywhere. So that everywhere would not be possible for any woman if they are
yeah.
on the entrepreneurship journey. So they should not feel guilt and keep on doing the thing which they want and achieve success that would define them in the future.
Yeah, yes, Rana, very nice because we do have some participant as a woman participant also. I think it's a great message for them, and I'm really happy to learn or rather get inspired that all these things are very important. And whenever we talk about the startup or the entrepreneurship and all that, I think the first motto is to see that we focus on the business. So that's what is very important. So when we say that engineer your research for startup, we always feel that as a researcher or maybe the person from the academic institute and all that the research is important, rest of the thing is very easy. I feel I rather when I delivered my seminar at the opening remark, that time I told them like it is so we feel that it is 60% of the research and 10% of selling the research, but it is rather otherwise. It is a 10% of research and 60% is selling. Maybe the 30% is the development side of that. So
Right.
ultimately, that's very important, and that's a good message that you have passed it on to all of us. Uh, Madam, this is very interesting and very important. Maybe we need your another comment which will help us. That we, as a written, like the research needs to be redefined as the one which is deployable rather than setting the goal of publishing the research papers and hopefully getting the PhD. This is what I had shown in the brochure also about the pasture content. Will you please opine on how the ecosystem is to be created in the Institute of Higher Learning, where focus will be on job creation? So we are now in the process of setting up the basic VNIT, and by June 2021, our infrastructure will be ready. And then as I always say to everybody, that my shoulders has to be strong because there is a lot of responsibility on my shoulder to see that how I can set up an ecosystem that every researcher wants to enter into the startup.
Right.
So, what is your view, madam, on this?
So I feel ecosystem is one of the pillar for encouraging all the startup in today's era. So sometimes people have great ideas and a path, and they need a path, but the ignition is required to start their company. Ecosystem provides that ignition and play a major role in shaping up that company. If you see, I would give a very good example of the ecosystem of Bangalore. I mean, we are virtually incubated in Bangalore in SCAMP, and that way I could figure out that how much the startup at Bangalore is benefited with the kind of policymakers, the accelerator, the incubators, and the co-working spaces which is provided over there. and for them it becomes easy to shape up their idea and go to the market. They get a good connects. The Even the educational institutes and the students and all, they the resource, the manpower, everything becomes easy if the ecosystem is there. So I would say ecosystem plays a major role startup to take it ahead. And I would say that VNIT has taken a very good role, because we were looking for something as a say incubator in Nagpur, where we could figure out that how the young minds, or how we also can take the shape into a better organization. So ecosystem, of course, is required in a state like so Vidarbha. In Vidarbha, there is no as such incubator, and that's a gap which one should fill, because all the companies which are dependent on co-working spaces and accelerators and incubators, the idea would be shaped up with the help of ecosystem.
Yeah.
So I would say that the higher institute should have some people from policy making, some from the accelerator, like there are some venture capitalists and all those things. So those connects can also be brought up. There are different say individual private entities like that in Nagpur, but not a government institute which could provide such kind of incubators or such kind of ecosystem for all the engineers as well as medical people in the city. So if you could bring both of them along, that would be a great way to start young ignited mind. And as your title says, that engineering your startup would be easy for all of them. Yeah.
Engineer,
So,
I'm using engineer as a verb there. That's
yeah. So I would say that we are there to help anyways. And the world is say very small in digital terms. So it would be very good if your initiation can be there, and then all the startups can get benefited from your ecosystem which we would create. And there are many startup lying here and there. They can also be brought up on the board and figure out that how that can be taken. And once it takes shape, then government also is very much interested to take it ahead. So we can take some model and create such kind of ecosystem.
Actually, madam, do you suggest any model in India which we should imitate while setting up the such infrastructure of basic VNIT?
Right. So first thing which is very important is fund. Even if you create an incubator and also take it ahead, the incoming fund needs to be there. So when, for example, if 100 startup comes, even if the one startup gets succeeded, the purpose of making the startup get solved, right? So some like CCAMP and other places, they have the model of equity model is also there. If you have an incubator and somebody is taking space in your incubators, or taking the mentorship and other co-working spaces, and they are not able to pay right now, then you can take some percentage equity from those startups, that once they have the product selling, that money can come to you. So those fund would be available for next startup to work on and then take it ahead. So those equity based model can be also there. And some kind of say sharing of IP. For example, your research would have lot of IP, and then the startup wants to take that and make a product out of it. So that kind of association can also be worked on, and then you can be a mentor to take it to the market. So those kind of association can be worked out, and that would help not only the startup but also the institute to bring more and more successful entrepreneurs.
Yeah, yeah. Madam, like, no doubt, giving the space to the startup in the basic VNIT or maybe the finance and all that, that is, maybe we can think at the next stage. But even if we are successful in instigating the researcher, that they should now enter into the startup and maybe through some other incubator, maybe virtual incubating and all that. If I can, we do it. I think that is what we are presently looking at. Uh, maybe say for example, we need to create the Betic VNIT model as a role model for others in hopefully central India. That is research leading to startup. Now, what I realized is that the international exposure to researchers is very much necessary. Generally, fund is not available with the universities or institutes for the international travel. Any methodology you suggest tapping funding may not be grand, but at least a seed money from the industries nearby for such activity. I think there is a Ishka, yeah, some disturbance from the
Yes.
audience. Audience are requested to just keep their mic mute, otherwise we'll not be in a position to listen to madam. Yeah, 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 madam. Uh, so, madam, can you yeah,
See, I mean, right now also there are some companies which basically are giving the space also, and some recently, if you heard the news, the MyLab, which has made a great news in COVID PCR testing development and all. So
yeah,
they are also giving a space for a new startup to develop the technology at that space. So those kind of
mhm,
things can be worked upon. As far as foreign collaboration, there are some grants for collaborating also. There are some say Indo-US model for combining two industries or academia. There VNIT can play a major role where you can be one partner and then the two industry can be collaborated. So those kind of
yeah,
model can also be worked upon. As such, travel grant I have not heard of uh,
yeah,
for this thing, but then there are some incubatorship program also. There are
mhm,
some incubator program in Ireland, and some of them are in. There are list of programs which if any startup companies can apply for, and if they get successfully cleared through those programs, they can do an incubatorship program for like 15-20 days, and then that would help them to pitch to investors and other kind of things. So those can also be brought up on as the ecosystem or incubators for VNIT.
yeah. No, actually, what I feel that once the researcher get an international exposure, he himself get excited. Oh, the world is different. I
Right.
need to rather work in my research methodology in this particular way and all that. And that's why I particularly feel that one who enters into the research arena, he should be given the international exposure. And for that, I always find it difficult to get the grant from the researcher to send abroad. And that's why tapping funding itself becomes a big issue.
Maybe they can
So,
apply for this incubator program. That would be very much helpful. These kind
yeah.
of programs are just for 15 days, 20 days, but then hand holding
Mm.
is there till the end. So
Oh,
those kind of program can be brought in, and maybe
yeah.
your institute can be a coordinator for the same. So
Sure,
there
sure,
are
sure, sure.
some 15 days, 20 days, or a month, 6 month, some kind of programs are there. So that can be
Yeah,
brought in.
yeah, yeah. That's nice. Madam, one thing I would like to just ask you related to the product development. When the product is to be developed and launched into the market, we need to follow the what is called as a TRL, technology readiness level. Now, to what TRL level we should provide guidance to researcher at Betic VNIT? That means
So
the proposed center or people it to start with, because that's the first baby step. Like to which TRL level we should give them the rather guidance.
So I would say until it reaches to TRL 6,
Okay.
where the product is taking the shape, like I mean, from POC to the product stage,
Mm-hmm.
at least one should handhold, because there are many things which is required from starting from POC to a product level. Lot many things, regulatory, other aspect is required. So I guess TRL till TRL 6 one should handhold, and then the company should be on their own from there onwards.
Okay. So you meant to say till TRL 6, it will be better to give them the guidance. Later on, they themselves can take it further.
Yeah,
I
because
think,
they
yeah,
have to be independent and understand the process of taking the product to the market.
sure, sure, sure. Uh, Madam, one of the thing which I would like to just ask you, because the other resource persons, they have some different opinion. Like, do you advocate the running the startup independently, that is without the incubation center?
It depends. Like for us, we were virtually incubated
Yeah.
because there were no incubators as such in and around.
Hmm.
Luckily we got incubation in one of the bigger company. They gave us a space and we started.
Okay.
But initially, it is always be good to be at incubator, because you get to interact with many startup over there, and what kind of readiness one needs to have. Somebody is speaking of investors, somebody is speaking of some funds. Then you are well aware that you are not working in silos. You are knowing that what is happening in and around the world. So incubator at that moment does help for startup to take the leap.
Yeah.
You get the client as well. So those kind of thing happens when you are working with incubator.
Yeah. Maybe with, I think the virtual incubation, I think is the only way by which we can do it, because it's very difficult nowadays to get the physical space or getting an incubation in a virtual, these incubation center, which are available in, at least in Maharashtra, I know, because if you apply to the venture center, it's difficult to get the space. If you apply to sign IIT Bombay, again, it's difficult. So it's only the virtual incubation that is the only way by which we can
Right.
get connected to
Yeah,
you.
I'm talking about virtual incubation only,
Yeah,
because anyways, after few years of working,
yeah,
1 or 2 years, you have to graduate from that incubator and
yes, yes,
develop
yes,
your
yes.
own setup. So I'm talking about virtual incubation, because that will help you connected with the
Hmm.
networks, and also some of the aspect that investors and other things. So I guess virtual incubation is always good if somebody can do as a startup, and that helps you getting some, even the funds, the grants, and everything that becomes easy to acquire for.
Yeah, I think at our betting VNIT, we do also have the same problem of space constraint and all that. So again, I think we should start thinking of developing this particular incubation center as a virtual incubation center for the startup to start with, and hopefully maybe one or two startup we can accommodate. But it's really very difficult to accommodate everybody whosoever approaches us. So I think I should study.
Hand holding,
Yeah.
hand holding, and networking that virtual incubator can give, and that would be more than enough for startup to take the leap.
Oh, yes. So I think we need to study in detail how exactly the virtual incubation can be supported by the Betic VNIT. That will be of more interest to us at this moment.
Right.
Yeah. Uh, Madam, it's now time for us to look at the questions from the audience, because now I think they have heard a lot about it. Let me check whether the any questions are there from the audience, and If not, then I am here to ask the question to you from the audience only, because I am the audience. So, but till that time, I think people will keep their questions for you, and then we will see on the chat box which is open. Uh, Madam, let me ask you some interesting things about this modality of the research and all that. You know, to deliver the best in research, that is what we call it as a translational research, or research which is sellable in the market. The research project is very important. Writing the proposal, presentation in front of expert, budget are tough points to handle. After passing all these hurdles, we receive the grant of first year of project. Generally, grant for the succeeding years gets delayed, and hence this affects the research tempo of the researcher. As we wish that the researcher should enter in the startup domain, the irregularity in fund receiving is a big problem. Do you suggest any modality to overcome this problem?
We had faced initially those kind of problems. What we have identified is it's not that fund gets delayed, especially when we are working with a system like BIRAC and all. What we have found is if we pertain to the utilization certificate and the timelines, and what we can do right in the beginning itself, whatever, for example, when we are starting a work, we need instruments more, because until we have that instrument, we have the resources, we cannot start. So what we do basically is we include that aspect in first, which I guess I have worked with academian, they always stick to the different format, the format which the BIRAC gives or DBT gives. What we do is we that these are the things which is required to project to next milestone, and hence we need this much of fund in this category. So we tell to BIRAC or tell to funding body initially itself that this much funding is required for reaching the milestone. So maybe that fund can be diverted. And secondly, we have to know that what are the things which we can do in order to sustain. So we have to work, sometimes we have to work as a CRO, sometimes we have to figure out that with your product, for example, when we started, we worked for some therapeutic antibody for TB as a target. But getting to that therapeutic molecule, it could take 10 to 15 years of research and then all the clinical trials and all. So what we had figured out that within that research, what are the resources which we can make as a product. So we did a mycobacteria library, we did some of the proteins which we could take it as a product form. We made some of the antibodies which were also as the product form. So gradually you have to map that. Writing fund doesn't mean that you have to entirely depend upon that. You have to figure out what are the things which you can have a bit and get them at least market from there and sustain your work. So that kind of combination you have to do. For us, people say that you are basically your company is working in so many different directions and you are not focused. But what I feel is that the platform for us, the platform is one that we make antibody, and that antibody or proteins can be utilized to various different area. Why not make use of it? If it is giving me business, why not just make a simple product and get the business out of it? That would help me in running my work. I might not be focused enough, but then I have enough to run my business and get to the next stage. Once the team is divided, once we have enough resources, we can allocate and be focused. So those kind of approach needs to be taken.
No, like where you have a very good experience with the barrack, but with the many funding agency, when the higher institutes are dealing with, I sometimes feel that they generally the project is for 3 years or 5 years. So at least the first 2 years money they should release it, and then later on they should ask for the deliverable and all that. Otherwise, what happened like the first year the grant gets consumed, and second year that will not come unless the UC is sent, unless the annual report is sent, unless the things is. So then these researcher I found they get disturbed, and ultimately we do want that the researcher should focus right from the beginning about the startup. So this problem we do face, but I think what you said is absolutely right, that entirely dependent on the grant itself is a big problem. Uh,
Like,
yeah, yeah. Ganorkar Vaibhav has asked a question. He says that my question is based on the recent scenario. Every citizen of world is worrying about how I am safe from coronavirus, and this is quite surprising. Disease for both health works and common man. So this scenario for entrepreneur is very difficult to manage to follow current research work. How can you guide him, madam, to stable the market being successful? How should we concentrate on such new research? Oh, he's worried about the COVID pandemic and
I
okay. Can you see, madam, the question there?
yeah. I
Yeah.
Question is not visible.
It's like on the chat box. If
Okay.
you check the chat box, I think it's
Yeah.
that is yeah, yeah.
Every second.
Is just asking related to stable in the market being successful. How should we concentrate on such new research?
New research, as in, like, what I would suggest that the pandemic was very much surprising for even us, but then as as it has brought lot many challenges to many companies, it has brought opportunities also. For us it brought
Yeah,
many opportunities because most of the product were imported from the China or other western countries, and corona actually disrupted all the supply chain, and
Mhm.
hence people went to see indigenous source of making these products. So we got a better business. So you have to take any challenges or any kind of scenario into your opportunity and see how you can work. Many people made crores of business by just making the sanitizer. So I would say that they were good entrepreneur in making
Yeah,
use of the situation and become. So you have to see, these are the challenges where you can work and figure out that how to be in the market and be the first to get the business. So those kind of thing has to be there, and these are emergency things which uh, and as a researcher I would say we the researcher value actually became very much vigilant during COVID times, because people wanted to
yeah,
they actually got to understand that okay, research needed to be there in order to combat such kind of scenario,
yes, yes, yes,
right? So
yeah,
one has to figure out the way and what are the things which we can do during these crucial times to make our business successful. No doubt some business were affected and we feel bad about it, but then as a researcher we always have a good hope in doing new kind of research in such kind of scenarios.
yeah. There is a question from Shilpa Vinturkar. She said that if someone have an idea for startup, but he or she may not aware about that, how to proceed or implement on that idea. So what should he or she do in such cases? Uh, that she mean to say that if someone has an idea for startup, but he or she may not aware about that, aware about the startup, okay? How to proceed to implement that idea? So what should he or she do in such cases? Okay. She meant to say that someone is having an idea but not aware of the startup. Then what he should do or he should do.
Okay.
That's what he said about.
So, one, if you have an idea and you are not aware that how to start a company, that's
Yeah,
what I understand.
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
see, right now the environment is very much conducive for get from the idea you can always figure out that what are the feasibility. The world is open for you. You
Mhm.
have you work in a digital world, so I guess first instantly you can figure out from your idea itself that whether the market research you can do, whether your idea, whatever you are trying to think or want to develop, whether that requirement is there or not. Right now, a very good way to do that is, I would say, that you figure out the first of all figure out the vulnerability of your idea. You can do a survey kind of thing by doing a Google form or something, and then send it across to all your friends or connects and figure out whether that idea would work or not. And once you have full confidence on your idea, then you can talk to some of the people whom you think that could help you out working with that idea, and then take it to the next stage. So I would say there is nothing impossible right now. The whole world is becoming open and more closer. Though
Yes.
COVID has made the distance, but we are
Yeah,
becoming
yeah,
closer
yeah,
to
yeah.
the digital world.
Rather, yes,
I
yes,
would say
yes, yes.
that it is just taking a leap and figuring out that how the idea can be taken. So you
Yes.
can take help of your friends, your network. You can
No,
just do a
no, I
open.
think that's what you already said when I asked you the question. You have to tell your ideas to everybody and see that what are their response. So if she can do like that, I think it's possible for her to know how to enter into the
A simple
startup.
survey form would be good enough to figure out whether how many people go for that. One is that one type of working is that. Another is making a product and then putting it into the people's head that this needs to be worked. So,
Yeah,
so that is
yeah.
also another way.
That's true. That's true. Uh, Madam, I just read yesterday in Economic Times that Honorable Prime Minister wishes that the more private sector role needed in agriculture R&D. So I also look these news applicable to R&D in every sector. The researcher should be funded based on the deliverable rather than to which institute he is attached. If deliverable is startup, then it will not only solve the problem of underemployment of researcher, but also problem of creating the jobs. So I was just thinking like help to be taken from the private uh, sector for the research. So again the industries I found they are not upgraded to that level, especially engineering industries, they need some more push as far as the R&D is concerned. And then I just thought about can any help can be sought from the rich temple trust in India or that type of the thing. Your view on this? Maybe something typical
I
thing I am asking.
I would take it to take this in another way. Like, have you seen that something like innocentive challenges or Nine Sigma or something like that sort of things? You are rightly saying that industries are also saturated with the ideas, and they are not doing a kind of R&D, and for a big industry that is not possible also because
Yeah,
they
yeah,
are into manufacturing, processing, and all those things. They don't have,
yeah. The sustainability itself is a
yeah,
big issue for them.
for them. So they do give some kind of challenges on this forum, open
Mhm.
challenges for solving some kind of problems. And I would say that any, for example, young minds, if they want to promote themselves into some kind of product or some kind of entrepreneurship, they can look at these problems from the big industries, which are very much visible on these forums like Innocentive and Nine Sigma, and then figure out that whether their solution, whatever their ideas are, if that solution can fit in that problem or not. And then they provide a lot of funds. So those challenges, if you say if you write a proposal or write your idea about it, they get selected also, and the industry funds also. So those kind of things also can be there. And especially you mentioned about Economic Times mentioning about agriculture sector. Agriculture sector is basically has a huge gap currently for and so much of innovation is required to address those problems, and it's a major area where engineers can literally have a lot many things to work upon. Their mind is required right now in engineering sector. Biomedical, of course, engineers have done a vast change in the whole sector itself. Now we need more engineers than biologists, but agriculture, we are requiring that kind of thing. So I would say that problems are there. You have to identify the problem, and then when you're identifying a problem and identifying a solution, that solution would definitely work, and industry would be ready to pay for it. There are many industry. The only thing is they do not have the talent, and the talent lies at the higher institutes like you have. So if they can address the problem, so there should be an interaction between industry and academia also for identifying the problems and the solution. Funds should not be an issue right now. Everybody wants to have the solution for the problems.
There is a question from Yadnish, like, how should we distribute our funding? That is, if we are getting XYZ rupees, okay, that means you got a fund. How much we should spend on marketing, advertising our product? How much should we spend on quality of the product inspection, other spending, and all? When you start your company, did you thought about it? Can you please elaborate on the same?
Yeah, initially we didn't do much of marketing thinking. We were into the product development, and so we put most of the fund resources on the product development part. But once your product is developed, you have always a way to get more investment from investors, and the angel investors, seed investors, to get to go for the next step. So first, I would say first it should be product, the quality of the product, and then you need to go to the market. So for market, there will always be a good, if the product is good, there will always be an investor who will be ready to invest for marketing and taking to the consumer. So there you should not feel problem. The first thing is you need to have a quality product with you.
Shrish Tiwari wants to unmute himself for a question. As usual, every day he wants to unmute. Bhupesh Subodh, can you just unmute Shrish Tiwari? Yes, Shrish Tiwari, can you hear us?
Sir. Hello, sir. Hello, Supriya ma'am.
Hello.
Hello.
Ma'am, right now I'm pursuing my third year of engineering, and my question regarding the weightage in resume. Like currently, I have filed my 2 patents on my major 2 projects, and now I have my third project where a patent as well as a research paper can also be made. But due to less time, I can't make both parallelly. So what should I choose, which will make a good impact in my resume?
Shirish, here we are talking about starting your entrepreneur. If you have 2 to 3 papers, why do you want to make impact on your resume? You should just start a company with your research.
Oh, great.
I'm doing that.
And then you will be able to assess more resume to see whether the people of like-minded are coming to work with you or not.
Yes, I think Shirish Madam has said rightly that while you are focusing on resume, better start your company then. That will be your first priority. If at all you are
Shirish, you have see when we are filing a patent, we always have to see that what valuation it brings on. Okay. Even the investors would be ready for you for funding on the valuation of the patent. So patent, if you have a patent and if you want to work on your product, that should be your first priority rather than going and working. Then you are losing your talent itself.
Yes, ma'am, I got it.
Yeah, so you need to evaluate your, there are bodies which can evaluate your patent. Okay, you maybe you can sir can help you out. You evaluate your patent, figure out that how much value it has in terms of business, and just go to any investor to start your work. Okay. So when we are igniting mind, why you want to go and work for others? You work for yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right now I have
That's
got a lot.
nice. Yeah.
And to
I think still more questions to come from the audience, but before that, I will take some opportunity to talk to Madam. Like, Madam, in most of the research proposal, the involvement of industry is mandatory, and it is expected that some part of the budget should be also shared by the industry. This has become a hurdle for many serious researchers, as it is difficult to get the industry sponsoring their research. I feel it is mostly because of the two reasons. First, researchers do not know whom and where to approach. And second, industries are not upgraded to that level where research plays the important role. Do you suggest call for research proposal from industry as the best way to connect researchers and industry?
Yeah, I guess that can be done. Uh, I would say that right now industries are basically getting interested. They want to figure out some part of, for example, this CSR funds is also there in researcher. Maybe that those funds can be approached. Any researcher can write to industry for attaining those kind of funds also to take the product to the next level, and then give some kind of royalty or some kind of attachment to that product, that say first license, you can say, where the first say no license would be from that industry. If they are saying no, then that researcher would give that product to somebody else. So those kind of agreement can be made, and then fund can be raised from industry. One is that aspect, and there are some industry with whom you can be connected initially when your POC stage is there in your research, in your PhD work, and then get make them interested. So when you are working for a product, you start selling it. Selling it doesn't mean that selling in the market. Selling it means that creating attraction. The more traction you bring in early stage, the more you will get industrial approach. So if you see CRISPR-Cas technology getting so much of that has come from the lab itself, but the lab right from the initial stage, it was connected to a very big company or many companies for funding. So those
Yeah.
kind of attraction one has to bring in early when you are working on some translational project. So I would suggest that every researcher should think before taking up any kind of research, should think that what are the products which would be formed through this say proposed theory, and then take the product at each step, take the industry's interest into that. So that is required if they want a sustainable product development with their research.
I think that means everyone should think of the attachment with the industry right from the beginning. I think
Yeah,
that
yeah.
will be really nice because in our BETIC project, which we are presently working with IIT Bombay and CUP Pune, what we say that the whatever the medical device we will be innovating or will be interested in the first to go and meet the doctor and let's know what is his need and then start your research. So I
Right.
think the same thing what you said, like uh, everything should start from the industry first.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really very nice suggestion from you, madam.
Even that becomes a responsibility for professor also. They should give a project which is
Yes.
basically a product formulation or something which could be applicable to the industry and other aspects.
I think that's actually, you know, put lot of responsibilities again in our hold, that we have to approach to the industries and see that what is their need and how best we can then rather give projects to the students or researchers. That would
Right.
have been a much more better approach. Uh, but like, well, the thing which is very interesting for me to know from you is like PhD or maybe the research in general is nowadays evaluated by research papers published or maybe the quality of the research papers published and all that. Now, the see, if there is a requirement that if you can publish your work in the 2 research journal papers of high quality or 4 research journals of high quality, hopefully your work is the best and you are ready to, or rather you allow the student to submit it for the PhD examination and all that. Now, in this scenario, what happens is that the students, they are focusing only on the research paper to be published. They never think about how does this research is translate into the startup or a company and all that. So what I particularly feel that if they are in the PhD projects, if at all I'm targeting the PhD project, say maybe with the time span of 3 or 4 years or so, 3.5 years they have rather done their work. They have actually done the research work which is required to be qualified for the PhD. Then maybe 1 more year they should get additional year for time for the stipend, and then they should write the proposal or they should show the readiness of their research being translated for the benefit of the society. This may be used as a prerequisite for award of the PhD degree or maybe the grant of patent for the research. So just like the internship is necessary for the doctors to get a MBBS or degree. So that thing can be thought over whether the research leading to startup will be more successful.
Yeah, I absolutely second that because I myself is not a PhD, and
No, doesn't matter. That's why I said like any research or any PhD. That's
and
PhD
I,
is
I
the
feel, yeah, I feel that research paper should not be the judgmental point. What you have is the product and the translational aspect of it. If you could prove that the product which you are making or the development which you are doing in your PhD program is something which could be utilized for the society and can be made as a product, I think the PhD basically should define that itself.
yes.
Because there you are finding something, and with that finding, you are giving a use. So I guess paper should not be the criteria. Instead, one patent can be one of the aspect that can be included in the PhD program, I would say.
Yeah, because see, ultimately in our theme, we do want that every research should lead to the startup. This is
Right.
more important because what I have seen, there is a huge problem of underemployment of the researchers, that they do wonderful work and finally they find it very difficult to rather the get the employment where their capability is utilized to the fullest extent.
Right.
And I think this will be a solution, hopefully. There is a question from Gajendra Pote that what type of the risk reward generally venture capitalists expect from founder of startups?
Yeah, so basically, when we go to a venture capitalist, they evaluate your company based on the idea, the product, and or market. Assess that how much is the valuation of your company. Say, for example, 100 CR is the valuation of my company, and if I want that much fund, 100 CR will include a projected market also. So 100 CR is valuation of my company currently, and if I want to bring on investor for some fund to scale up my product and take it to the next stage, so 1 CR will I have to dilute 1% share of my equity. So these are the things which they stake upon. So they will take the equity in form, and in return would give you funds to take your research to the next level. So you have to dilute the equity and de-risk your company by the money the investor gives. So that's how that they go as an investor-founder relationship.
Madam, the same thing is true for the angel investors also?
Yeah, angel investors will give you at the no seed angel investor is almost the same. So they would be taking less equity and giving more at the early stage itself, where you are at the POC stage or somewhere. So they would take less and would give more fund on that. So that might double or triple of the stake which you are diluting. But the stake is involved.
Yeah. So generally, the reward is the stake or the equity. That is what they want from the company.
Right.
Yeah. Madam, maybe one more question from my side. Like nowadays, many institutes are getting the autonomy, and hence it is possible for such institutes to offer the higher degree courses like PG and PhD. The place of the research is the institute itself, where a PhD candidate is registered. Infrastructure and resource for research-oriented degree courses is the key issue. Getting the grant from funding agency to build such resource is the best way. Do you suggest any method to frame the quality of research proposal to be submitted to funding agency so that it will stand the competition from institutions like IIT? This is important when holistic approach to research in educational institute other than IIT is concerned.
I would say that the research proposal which you are submitting should have more of applicability and also a good roadmap if you can showcase. I don't know more about the PhD programs, how do assess that, how do they assess, but then the funding agencies with which we have worked, like Indo-French and other kind of thing, though they see a roadmap that how during your phase of research, how you are making a product or taking it to the next stage, next POC, next milestone stage, that needs to be well defined. And of course, when you are competing with institutes like IIT and other places, you need to have little credentials. So there are so many competitions where you can showcase your research work, initial conceptual work, where and that helps a lot in making that project very much credentials. And also, if you could have some, as we lastly discussed, that industry's interest. So that interest also you can showcase that the industry is already ready to take it to the next stage. Then you might get more attraction from the funding agencies, and hence that would be a better competitor than the project coming from IITians and other places.
Yes. And I think that's a nice advice, madam. Like to every competition, if at all we participate, I think that will build the credentials to our idea, and hopefully that may qualify. That may have an edge over the projects submitted by the institutes like IIT. That's yes. There is a question from an audience, like he said that on BTech level, this is from Sai Chitra. On BTech level, how an undergraduate can come across an industry issue or get exposed to the actual problems so that they could do research on something that could be potentially useful, as you are saying.
Yeah, so I mentioned about there are some forums where industry put their problems. Problem in the sense that whatever, for example, if Coke company
Yeah,
is finding a solution, alternative solution for sugar source. Okay,
yeah,
because they want to reduce, they want to retain the customer and reduce the health impact because of the sugar which they are using.
yeah,
Okay, they are trying to figure out if somebody can find out the solution for having an alternate source of sugar. So
yeah.
those challenges are there. You have to identify those challenges and work towards that. Another
Mhm.
example I would give is alternate source of right now this meat like vegetable alternatives for meat.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
those are the markets, the protein market.
It's a lab prepared meat they talk about.
Yeah. So these are the examples which I'm saying that, but these are the challenges which people are facing. If the bigger companies are facing, so if you go to these kind of forums and start following those companies which are of your interest and identify the challenges right in the beginning, you can figure out that where you have to start with. So you need to have a roadmap for your career. If you want to join those companies also, that is also one way, but one is follow that company which is working in your direction, and what are the problems they are facing, identify those problems and find a solution. The young mind will always find a better solution than the people already working on it, so
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
have
yeah,
more different way of understanding the things.
yeah,
So that ways you can be in the flow and right in the market.
yeah. So where you have given a very nice example of that 12th class student. 12th class student is training the postdoc people and all that. That shows that a young mind is more enthusiastic, more vibrant as far as the research is concerned. So
So
yeah, that's
I always make it a point that all the kids in my house, they have in a month, one day they should always visit the lab, see the people working, and then discuss them and give their opinion on new things. So young mind will
okay.
always give a good opinion.
Yes, yes, yes. Sometimes we feel it is a funny idea, but that's how the Steve Jobs has always talk about that he thought about using keyboard on the screen itself, and the whole thing gets revolutionized. Yes, that's wonderful. Yes, madam. That's so. Now I think almost we are interacting for the 2 hours. I think, madam, I have taken a lot of advice from you. Even the audience must have benefited from you. It was a wonderful discussion. I hope audience must have also learned a lot. We look forward to have you in our so-called advisor group once our betting VNIT center starts, and I will be always in touch with you. And as I already told you, like we would like to start this particular betting VNIT, which will rather help not only the area which we call it as a Vidarbha or Eastern Maharashtra, but maybe through Central India everywhere. And we do have a very good partner, Betik IIT Bombay. So they will be also with us. And ultimately, we do want that this particular theme of engineer your research for startup should be true should be true. And at the top of it, the what ads always look at the researcher should get the best opportunity to see that his research is sellable, and ultimately he find himself always comfortable in his life. That's what exactly the motto is. Let us see how best I can get it done with your support. So I think almost every question is answered. And now, finally, I should say that with such a wonderful discussion with Supriya Madam. We all remain connected. That doesn't mean that once the online symposium is over, that means we should now get disconnected or something like that. We will be always connected, and in long run, we'll see that we all will be on a platform where we can see this as a nation building, like more and more startup. Because I particularly feel the startup is the only solution for the unemployment problem that we are facing with the higher educated people. So thanks to all, and uh, you know, I am again uh, uh, giving thanks, or rather ask, giving thanks to you in advance for the feedback and question for the crossfire. Hopefully, once I will start the session tomorrow, you should see the happy man, Professor M. Kuthe, with lot of feedback rather than an angry man without a feedback. So we'll be meeting tomorrow, and with one more resource person. He is also an industrialist, because the first 2 days we have interacted with the people, those who have recently started their company, and when they got the grant from the barrack and all that. But now Supriya Madam is actually in this field for the last 14 years. So you must have seen the difference, like how we get the advice from her and from the people those who are just started. Tomorrow, Dr. Guru Prasad Rao, he's director of the very good company, 3D company, like 3D product manufacturing company called Imaginarium. It will be wonderful discussion with him also, just like what we have with the Supriya Madam. So thank you, Supriya Madam, for with us.
Thank you.
We will be in
Thank
touch.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Thanks
Okay.
a lot. Thanks for
Okay.
wonderful discussion.
Yeah. I'll stop.